Go.
Hi, my name is Jamie McSweeney, and today I'm doing a presentation on nonverbal communication. With the increase in media technology such as social networking, emailing, texting, dominating our communication, do we really have the skills necessary to communicate effectively in face-to-face situations? Well, with the lack of facial expressions, eye contact, tone of voice, and body language in electronic communication, there has been many misunderstandings. Verbal cues are not present in electronic communication, causing many misunderstandings. And face-to-face has been shown to be more effective than electronic communication as it reduces the amount of misunderstandings. Communication through electronic devices will never have the full capacity to replace real-time conversation. As it isolates, it hinders, and it also impersonalizes our communication. If you look here at my visual aid, you'll see a pie chart here by Kania and Barber that shows the percentages of understanding that's retained by spoken word, tone of voice, and nonverbal. Tone of voice and nonverbal make up 93% of my chart, and spoken word only makes up 7%. Now think of an impressive moment that you had where a presenter spoke. Did you remember word for word or just bits and pieces? Now if you're like me, I would only remember how the presenter looked, how they dressed, and maybe the energy that they had when they presented themselves, and a little bit of the visual aid. Well, that's the visual and the tonality, which makes up the 93%, whereas the spoken word only makes up the 7%. How much understanding do we really have when we communicate through this media communication, such as emailing, texting, and social networking? Let's look at the percentages of teens and adults that use this type of media communication. As you can see by the graph, adults use email 5% more than teens, and teens use texting 15% more than adults, whereas social networking is only a 1% difference. We have to wonder if this is why there are so many problems and misunderstandings in our relationships today. Look at the different types of media communication that's represented by my icons here on my visual aid. For example, the couple that we have here just met for their first time. They're sitting at the same exact table, but they're still communicating through a computer. This is just ridiculous how far we have taken this. Now we can see how often that we use this media. Let's look at each one individually to see how it's causing many misunderstandings. As you see, text messaging has become a very popular method of communicating. There are many problems in our relationships if it's the primary source of communication. Shorthand texting causes confusion in communication because there are many different meanings, such as TTYL. Do you or your family members know what TTYL is? Because I had to do research, and TTYL is talk to you later. But if we use this in our face-to-face interaction, who will really understand what we are talking about? Words are also limited in text messaging, and this doesn't give the sender time to elaborate and express themselves clearly. Due to the lack of clarity in emails, the difficult time to interpret the different emotions doesn't make emailing a reliable source of communication either. The clarity and tone of the email can be misunderstood, and words can also be harsher than intended. Emailing creates an urgency for the sender to respond quickly, and it also leads to carelessness and the inability to correct mistakes once the email has been sent. Cell phone communication lacks the most important nonverbal cues needed to convey a person's concerns. Body language and facial expressions are non-existent and makes it difficult to read one's expressions. As cell phone communication increases, face-to-face time interaction decreases, and our social skills and our communication skills are being affected. Face-to-face interaction is definitely the most effective way of communicating. Face-to-face gives us the opportunity to build a personal relationship and also the opportunity to build a rapport. Face-to-face socialization has declined and the use of media communication has increased. So during my presentation, I've discussed how the lack of facial expressions, eye contact, tone of voice, and body language in electronic communication has caused many misunderstandings. Face-to-face interaction is far more effective because it gives the opportunity for immediate feedback, and also it involves natural body language. Technology is here to stay, so we should be asking, What's the best way to make the best of both technology and face-to-face communication? And as Begley says, face-to-face interaction is the most powerful human interaction. Are there any questions today?
Yes, I have a question. Can you tell me if there's any statistics that show if media communication is less effective than face-to-face communication?
Well, honestly, there have not been any statistics, but there have been researches and studies done to show that face-to-face communication is far more effective. There was a survey that was done in 2009 that involved 760 business executives, and majority of them preferred face-to-face communication, as it gave them the ability to read one's gestures, facial expressions, and it gave them eye contact and body language. This helped them to understand one's personality and their characteristics and their concerns.
Thank you. One other question is there any time that you would think that media communication is more beneficial than face-to-face communication?
Well, I would never say that electronic communication will ever be able to replace face-to-face communication, because electronic communication lacks the nonverbal cues, it lacks gestures, body language, and also tone of voice. Face-to-face communication can be used with electronic communication, making it far more effective and beneficial in the long run.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.